Welcome to your daily dose of Sunday School, episode 151. We're continuing to look at the ninth commandment, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, using question 77 of the Westminster Shorter Catechism. What is required in the ninth commandment? The ninth commandment requires the maintaining and promoting of truth between man, and of our own and our neighbor's good name, especially in witness bearing. So we're applying this thing about not testifying against our neighbor to the promoting of truth in all of life. A couple proof texts. Romans 3:13. This is talking about the depravity of man. Their throat is an open grave. They use their tongues to deceive. So, obviously we don't want to do that. We do not want to be deceivers. Zechariah 8:16. These are the things you shall do. Speak the truth to one another. Render in your gates judgments that are true, and make for peace. Do not devise evil in your hearts against one another, and love no false oath, for these are things I hate. So here's the deal. You are supposed to love your neighbor, and an aspect of loving your neighbor is telling them the truth. Sometimes we need to be tactful and careful, but we want to be truthful. Now, I want to clarify one thing. So, normal situations, they're saying 98% of the time, we are to tell the truth. We are to be honest. What about when you're hiding some Jews in your house and the Nazis come to your door and say, "Are you hiding Jews?" Or there used to be a thing on the frontier. The Baptist churches divided, the frontier as in like Appalachian area, what was once the frontier. Baptist churches divided over whether or not it was okay to lie to Native Americans if they came to their house wanting to kill their children, telling them that, well, we don't have any children. So I would definitely fall on the side of those who say it is okay to lie. Because, remember I'm saying that you give the truth as an act of love. So that's the 98% of the time. Everyday life, the truth is something you give to your neighbor. Even when you don't like your neighbor, you are striving in your heart to love your neighbor as Christ loved us when we were enemies and died for us. We're imitating Christ in that way. And so we offer the truth, trying to be tactful and kind and everything, when at all possible. So, remember the Hebrew midwives, how they lied about the children that Pharaoh wanted them to kill. Now, some people will say, well, God rewarded them for protecting the children, not for lying. Well, you can't go on to protect children if you don't lie, because then you're going to be killed yourself, and they'll send in some midwives who don't protect the children. So you need to. So I don't know, maybe this might be shocking to some of you to think about, but it's really not too complicated. I remember in seminary talking about the Jews and the Nazis coming to your door, and I don't know, I'm probably in an ethics class, and of course at this time I've been convinced that there are times when it is okay to lie. And somebody said, well, you don't have to lie. And someone said, well, you could just shoot the Nazis. Okay, let's think about this. What do you think the Nazis would prefer? Do they prefer to be lied to, or do they prefer to be shot? It's pretty twisted when you get to that point. Here's the thing. Is it typically okay to pull out a gun on your neighbor when they're standing at your front door? No. But when you are in an act of war, in a situation where it would be acceptable to pull out a gun, it would also be acceptable to pull out a lie, and then no one has to die. So, in an act of war, you do that. But then that should remind you that when you are lying, you are acting in a way that is unloving. You are performing an act of deception, an act of war against people you're supposed to love. So you want to be very careful. I think there are some applications of this. Occasionally, we're trying to protect people or whatever, trying to stay safe, but those are the exceptions. And so I don't want you to be like, well, I can lie whenever I want now because it's kind of like war. No, it's not. Most of the time, 98% of the time, we're talking about your normal dealings with the people around you, with your family, your friends, your classmates, your teachers. You need to tell the truth because you're not in a war.